unnecessary deaths attributable to malaria.
Eliminating malaria still top on our agenda, President Buhari emphasizes as a launches council. Food security. Federal government to enforce a ban on purchase of crops from farm gates.
As we launch this report today, the quest to achieve our development goals and objectives is still the priority of government.
Also on the news tonight, the federal government adopts UNICEF multi-cluster survey to monitor human development. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. We're live in Abuja. I'm Ian Ray John. Hengino John Adams joins us from Lagos, while Ogochukwuka Ona is in Benin. Thank you for joining us. And it's important to mention again that you can follow us live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. We begin with health tonight, as what could best be described as a bold stand against malaria, a major public health challenge in the country. The federal government has formally inaugurated the Nigeria End Malaria Council. President Buhari, who performed the ceremony, emphasized that eliminating the disease remains a priority on his administration's agenda. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
Despite the reduction in malaria prevalence from 42% to 23% in the last decade, records show that Nigeria still accounts for 27% of the 50 million global malaria cases annually and 32% of the nearly 100,000 deaths related to the disease. To end malaria in Nigeria, experts say continuous advocacy, coordinated actions, and sustained local resource mobilization cannot be overemphasized. And this informed the inauguration of Nigeria End Malaria Council, a public-private partnership initiative chaired by Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, to, amongst others, remove operational bottlenecks and resource gaps under the National Malaria Strategic Plan.
The establishment of this council is a great opportunity to ensure sufficient funding to protect the progress made so far, sustain the progress, and be on an irreversible pathway to ending malaria for good.
What is important to note today is that malaria is preventable, treatable, and curable.
Malaria vaccine promises to be a game changer within the malaria intervention toolkit, and Nigeria is expected to lead effort in Africa toward development of the vaccine and meeting the required financing obligation.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who inaugurated the council, said apart from causing severe disease and complication in pregnant women leading to high rates of miscarriages, malaria is also responsible for a considerable proportion of deaths in infants and young children under the age of 5.
With the additional advocacy and funding the council will bring to the malaria control drive, we can anticipate a reduction in malaria burden that ensure that our children, pregnant women, indeed all Nigerians, are shielded from the disease. We must work together to reduce the unnecessary deaths attributable to malaria and ultimately improve the well-being of citizens.
The president described the membership of the council comprising a group of eminent personalities who have made their marks across all walks of life as a reflection of government's commitment to significantly reduce the malaria burden in Nigeria to a level where it is no longer a public health issue.
The successful implementation of the council agenda will result in improvement in the quality of life, health, and well-being of Nigerians by providing impetus for malaria elimination, and by saving about 687 billion naira nationally, which is the estimated economic burden of malaria for 2022. The savings could increase to 2 trillion naira in 2030. A concerted strategy to tackle malaria, therefore, has both public health as well as socio-economic benefits for Nigeria.
Apart from the desired advocacy, the Nigeria End Malaria Council has a mission to also galvanize action and mobilize resources towards ending malaria in Nigeria by the year 2030. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Away from malaria, but still on health, aside one confirmed case of monkeypox virus recorded in Ebonyi State, 32 other persons are suspected to have the virus. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Daniel Mezurike, stated this while briefing newsmen on the efforts to curtail further spread of the disease in the state. Kanayo Okoro reports.
Only a confirmed case of monkeypox in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, Dr. Umezrike, while updating newsmen, said the patient has continued to respond positively to treatment in one of the isolation centers in the state.
That we recorded one case who has a travel history from Port Harcourt, River State, and stayed for some time, and they returned precisely on 7th of August. We have also listed all the contacts for contact tracing. So far, we're monitoring no other person that's been affected. Still all very okay.
When urging the people of the state to go about their normal businesses and observe all COVID-19 protocols and to refrain from self-medication, the commissioner said the government is already carrying out sensitization in the council areas to curtail the spread of the disease.
What we are doing is to manage the case, then ensure that any contact is traced and also managed, and also we have activated our active case search to ensure that if there's any other case in the state, even not related to this particular index case, that we pick it up and manage it.
In Abakaliki, Kana Yokuru, NTA News.
And from monkeypox, we move to two other viral diseases, COVID-19 and Marburg. A memo which emanated from the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada, with the title Outbreak of Marburg Disease and COVID-19 Infection, has been in circulation and causing panic in some quarters for obvious reasons. This underscores the need for clarification, and joining me live via Zoom for the clarification is Head Infectious Disease Unit of the hospital, Dr. Vivian Kwage. Welcome to Network News, Dr. Kwage.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, I guess other Nigerians, as curious as I am to know what this memo is all about. Has the hospital recorded a case of Marburg?
No, not at all. Let me start by apologizing on behalf of the hospital for that misconception that internal memo has caused. It was not intended to cause such panic. The memo emanated from the Infection Prevention Control Committee that wanted to create awareness within the hospital community that we shouldn't lower our guard on infection prevention and control, because there are still some infectious diseases out there, that could cause a lot of havoc within the hospital. We heard of 2 cases of Marburg in Ghana, and we know Ghana is very close to Nigeria, and many Nigerians traveling day in, day out from Ghana to Nigeria. So the committee just wanted to create awareness that people should not throw away their infection prevention control measures, okay?
All right.
Continue to uphold infection. Yes, exactly. So not because we have a case
All right, doctor.
Of Marburg in the hospital. There is, we don't even have any case isolation center. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That response, of course, brings relief. But what is the situation with COVID-19? Is there an upsurge in cases? And how's the isolation center at the moment?
Yes, we have seen an increase in the number of positive cases of COVID-19, but none has been hospitalized because they are all mild disease, people that have mild. There are no COVID case in our isolation center currently.
Okay, so what advice do you have for Nigerians in terms of protection against these viral diseases?
Yes, the advice we want to say is that people should not lower their guards. We should continue with our hand washing measures. We should continue to maintain social distancing. We should continue to use our face masks when we are in an enclosed environment. It's not yet over, so we shouldn't lower our guards. And that's the information we want to pass across the entire nation.
Many thanks, Dr. Vivian Kwage. The information has been passed. Thank you for your time. Away from health issues, drivers of the 2023 population and housing census in Nigeria are optimistic that the census data generated will come handy in addressing the country's development challenges. This was part of submissions at a 3-day retreat on the review of the 2023 trial census in Abuja. Olusheye Adiagbo has details.
The recently concluded trial census held in 286 local government areas across the country is to test known procedures and technology for the 2023 population and housing census. The exercise is over and it is time to start harmonizing, interrogating and documenting the lessons learned during the census dress rehearsal. This retreat is to serve that purpose, with organizers saying they will elicit implementable recommendations that will aid the major exercise in April next year.
This retreat, therefore, is a necessary first step towards strategizing for the conduct of the census that will truly be digital, scientific, and produce data that will guide planning within the context of global economic challenges.
This retreat is expected to provide an avenue for self-examination and also project its overall readiness to deliver on a credible, transparent, and accessible census in 2023.
Partners of the census programs, including the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA), gave scorecards of their involvement during the trial census.
The task ahead is huge and complex, and all hands must be on deck.
NTA is also ready to give the exercise the full complement and the full coverage it desires.
NPC's commissioners from the 36 states of the Federation and the LCT, alongside all the participants who championed the 2022 trial census, will be submitting findings and recommendations at the retreat in Abuja. Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
In other news, President Muhammadu Buhari sends best wishes to former military President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida on his 81st birthday. President Buhari joins family, friends and associates of the former leader in celebrating another year heralded by God's benevolence and mercies. The president notes the historical role of the former military president in shaping the political and economic development of the country and his counsels to upcoming political leaders. Time for a first break. Please stay. Thank you for staying. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicts extreme rainfall in coming days. The agency also says possible flooding might affect farming activities. Musa Aliyu has the details.
States in the northwest and central regions have experienced excessive rainfall in the last couple of days. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency says about 100 millimeters of rainfall was recorded in the northwest and 50 millimeters in the north central. This has resulted to flooding, which have displaced more than 200 communities, where 50 lives were lost.
And over the weekend also, over 250 communities were affected in some northwestern states. Precisely in Sokoto, more than 200 houses were destroyed in Tangaza.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency therefore announced that above normal rainfall is expected in 17 states in the next coming days. The states are Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi and Yobe. Others are Borno, Gombe, Adamawa, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Ogun and Lagos states.
While substantial part of north central states and northeastern states will be normal, will be having normal conditions, and these states includes Kaduna, Plateau, Adamawa, Nasarawa, including FCT, Niger, Kwara, Kogi, Ekiti, Edo, Benue and Taraba states.
States and local governments are therefore advised to ensure people residing in flood-prone areas are evacuated. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Spain firefighters continue to battle wildfires as Berlin dries up following extreme drought in Germany. Here's Onengie Fanface with Global Climate Watch.
Government officials in Spain say firefighters are still battling a huge wildfire in southeastern Spain that has burnt through nearly 10,000 hectares in an area notoriously difficult to access. In Birmingham, the UK's longest warning maker of fuel cells, Adelan, hopes to see the hydrogen capacity take off in the coming years as concerns such as climate change and, more recently, energy security are boosting demand. Hydrogen vehicles are cheaper to fuel and do not emit any air pollution. But filling stations are still very rare and the economy is at the early stage, says Adelan CEO Michaela Kendall. Meanwhile, after 4 inconclusive sessions, UN member states resumed talks aimed at finally completing the treaty to protect the world's high seas, a vital yet fragile resource that covers nearly half the planet. In other reports, Berlin is switching off the lights of 200 buildings to save energy in a bid to offset a looming Russian gas crisis. As of the end of July, 6 monuments and landmarks are no longer illuminated at night, according to the Senate's Environmental Administration. This comes as a large part of Germany gets into a state of extreme or exceptional drought, including the capital city. Now, scientists say repeated heat waves are an unequivocal marker of global warming, and these heat waves are set to become even more frequent, longer, and of course, more intense. Onengie Fanface, NTA News.
Many thanks, Onengie. And still on climate-related issues, the use of renewable energy, reduction of greenhouse gas emission are strategies to mitigate impacts of climate change in Nigeria. This is a submission of some experts in Akure on climate change mitigation. Kayode Olorudare reports.
As the world's population continues to grow, so does the amount of garbage that people produce. The accumulation of these products has led to increase of plastic pollution around the world.
If we must really show that we want to climate change, then even in the production of our material, let's try and use renewable energy as much as possible.
As plastic is composed of major toxic pollutants, it has the potential of causing significant harm to the environment in form of air, water and land pollution.
If you say you want to landfill, the landfill, there are some chemicals, there are some emissions, methane especially, that will be generated by those things that you have buried. At the end of the day, they will also emit into the atmosphere. If they don't go into the atmosphere, they will emit into the soil. If they don't emit into the soil, they will emit into the groundwater. And we all depend on all of this for our survival. So, to me, the most formidable strategy is to go on recycling.
They also warned against the burning of plastic, as this can lead to harmful atmosphere condition and deadly illnesses. In Akure, Abiola Ario, NTA News.
In other news, the Rivers State government has inaugurated a newly constructed VIP lounge at the domestic wing of the Port Harcourt International Airport to enable the airline provide excellent service to its very important personalities. Ogedi Inyekwe reports.
The VIP lounge of the domestic wing of the Port Harcourt International Airport, Omagwa, has been in a sorry state not befitting of a state like River State, to provide comfort for very important guests and passengers who visit the state. With the construction of a new lounge, passengers en route Port Harcourt will not only enjoy comforts, as the new facility will help the airlines provide premium service to deserving personalities. Nawike says the construction of the lounge is born out of his desire to give the state the best of infrastructure, despite the fact that the airport is managed by a federal government agency. He noted that maintenance is key to ensure that the edifice serves the purpose for which it was built.
We are willing to support our own people, but you must also give us that assurance that when the job is given to you, you will complete it without any problems. For us, since we built it, we got away from the maintenance. So please allow the contractor to give us what it is will be the maintenance cost of this edifice, so that we can continue to keep it the way it is.
The lounge is a story building housing an administrative block, a screening house, and a security house on the ground floor, while the first floor accommodates the presidential lounge, the governor's lounge, and other executive lounges. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Inyekwe, NTA News.
Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu has lauded President Muhammadu Buhari's administration for the establishment of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure Skill Acquisition Center and Agricultural Machinery and Equipment Development Institute in Kebbi State. Governor Bagudu made the commendation while flagging off a 5-day skills acquisition training and youth empowerment organized by Naseni in Birni Kebbi. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
The theme for the 5-day trainee program is modern farming methods using improved farming implements in Kebbi State, which 100 participants are the prospective beneficiaries.
Kebbi State takes this opportunity and confidence that has been placed on us very serious, and we will partner, we will ensure that we support as a state, as a people, we reciprocate.
What you are here to offer by way of support to creation of empowerment, bringing about the desired improvement in agricultural skills production, mechanized farming, among others, is certainly not a misplaced priority.
The Executive Vice Chairman of Naseni, Professor M.S. Haruna, who lauded the federal government unflinching commitment to the country's agricultural transformation over the years, appreciated Governor Bagudu's contribution in that direction, adding that it is through agencies like Naseni that the world-best economies drive their success.
The trainees are carefully selected. They just need some techniques, they need some scientific methods to improve.
Other speakers who graced the event described the agency as a springboard for Nigeria's industrial development. Ashura Adamu, on behalf of the participants, assured commitments. Highlight of the event include the presentation of presidential approval letter of establishment of the Skills Acquisition Center in Bagudu to the governor and presentation of modern equipment to the participants to ease their farming practices. In Birni Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
Away from Kebbi, former Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao, has stressed the need for Nigeria to take a bold step towards reforming and restructuring its security system to combat current security challenges. General Dambazao stated this at the Blueprint Annual Public Lecture and Impact Series and Awards. Joseph Otsen reports.
It's the 11th anniversary of Blueprint newspaper, and attention this time around is directed at rebuilding a stable Nigeria.
Not allow the issue of insecurity to define the debates of 2023. Rather, the tone and narrative should be about human development, about education, about infrastructure, about economy, about health, etc.
With the theme 2023 politics, national security and Nigeria's stability, former Minister of Interior Lieutenant General Abdulrahman Dambazau, governors of Kogi and Yobe states, with other discussants, want Nigeria to re-examine its security architecture and address push factors of insecurity identified as poverty, injustice, religion and ethnic divides for a stable and progressive country.
The armed forces, that is Army, Navy and Air Force, have serious deficiency in the required strength necessary to deal with the kind of security challenges we are confronted with today. Actions against these violent criminals must be intelligence-driven, and the deployments of smart modern technology to facilitate surgical operations
suit that leader who you know will be able to be fair, just, and equitable.
For us to succeed, we must, as a deliberate policy, avoid politics and campaigns of hate and the promotion of religious and ethnic sentiments that are fast becoming major threats to our national unity and nationhood.
Personalities who made positive impacts on the development of Nigeria were presented with awards. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Rear Admiral Yaminu Ehinome Musa, retired, as the pioneer coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center. Before his appointment, Rear Admiral Musa had been the director of the Counter-Terrorism Directorate in the Office of the National Security Advisor since 2017. The retired naval senior officer served as the Nigerian representative at the Global Counter-Terrorism Forum for the last 3 years. The appointment is to take effect immediately and to run for an initial term of 5 years. Now time to head to Lagos, where Hingino is standing by to give us more news. Hingino.
Thank you, Henry. The federal government is committed to ensuring timely preparation and submission of the annual budget in line with its public financial management reforms. Director General, Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabweze, affirmed this stance at an interactive session with representatives of MDAs on preparation for 2023 budget estimate. Abolade Salami reports.
Budget presentation by the executive to the legislative arm of government for consideration and passage in time past suffered some level of setback, thereby causing huge loopholes to the actualization of some mapped out plans. The federal government, in fulfillment of its agenda on public finance management from 2020 till date, commenced the January to December budget cycle as part of measures to drive accountability.
Unlike the former method where they pass it on to the budget office and then we begin to collate. This era, they prepare and they input. The only thing that we do is to collate all of them and make it a document.
In order for the 2023 budget proposal to meet up with the September directive by Mr. President, the Budget Office of the Federation has commenced a series of activities related to preparation, including engagement with stakeholders, consultations with key relevant revenue-generating agencies, and trainings of personnel of MDAs.
One big thing about this is that we have also tried to make the budget more comprehensive, and so we have introduced the revenue side. We've asked that they should report these revenues so that we are not under-reporting government's revenue or government expenditures.
While the training is set to provide continuous learning meant to equip budget personnel with requisite knowledge, skills, and required tools to prepare and submit the 2023 budget in a timely and efficient manner, the session also afforded participants opportunities to compare notes.
I got to know much about the preparation of budgets
through this training session.
The knowledge sharing exercise will involve over 4,000 participants responsible for budget preparation from 900 NDAs. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Close to 4,000 kilograms of cannabis sativa with street value of 308 million naira have been handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. The drugs are a recent seizure by the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service, in which 2 suspects were also arrested. Michael Alale reports.
The dimension of threats to internal security, no doubt, is connected with the inflow and distribution of illicit substances and drugs. These are products of some of the various attempts made daily to expand the network. But the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service, armed with robust information and surveillance, nipped one of such efforts in the bud. Ebuka Mbamalu was arrested along Ogere-Ilaru Expressway in possession of 627 kilograms of cannabis sativa, and Iruka Chita had 80 parcels of same substance in his custody.
Bandits, Boko Haram, they use all these substance to charge them up in a way to allow them carry out their dastardly acts. It is our responsibility to ensure that illicit items do not find their way in.
To the NDLEA, it is a relationship with many wins on its sleeves attributed to the customs, and sustaining these is imperative in the enduring journey of stamping out drug abuse totally in the country.
We have a grand strategy called WADA, War Against Drug Abuse, that we're trying to take to the grassroots so that we're able to enlighten people for them to make the right choices in their life.
The Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service used the platform to signal its willingness to continue supporting interagency collaboration aimed at ridding the country of smuggled goods and dangerous products. In Lagos, Michael Alale, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The news continues after this break with Iyenre in Abuja. Don't go away.
Glad to have you back. UNICEF has developed the Multi-Cluster Survey, which is a household survey to assist countries fill the gaps for monitoring human development indicators. In 2021, it supported the federal government to begin the 6th of such surveys in the country. Muplang Dakok reports.
57% of children in Nigeria have now been immunized, as against the initial 33%, and 6 out of 10 children now have their births registered. These and more data make up the newly launched 2021 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey and the National Immunization Coverage Survey Report. 2 important reports for the country, released by the National Bureau of Statistics and launched by the Minister of Finance, who represented the Vice President.
As we launch this report today, the quest to achieve our development goals and objectives is still the priority of government, particularly towards improving access to immunization for all our children as and when due.
The surveys are timely because they provide fresh data on women and children after the COVID-19 pandemic to provide evidence that will help shape interventions and focus resources in a way that helps children and their families reach their full potential.
Focuses on issues such as health, education, child protection, water and sanitation, among others. The survey also serves as a major source of data for assessing the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDG).
Data is the lifeblood of all our developmental efforts. Hence, the contents of this survey will help us not just to see challenges,
but to help solve those problems.
The two surveys are expected to lead to the review of policies that will affect social inclusion and livelihood of Nigerians, especially women and children. In Abuja, Muplang Bakok, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Dries Bank PLC, a non-interest Islamic bank, has announced a 4 kobo per share dividend for the year 2022. Yesterday, Able reports that the financial institution affirms it will continue to keep investors and customers happy in line with its mandate.
Like every other financial institution, the year 2021 was quite eventful for Dries Bank PLC, a Nigerian-based non-interest Islamic bank, despite the global economic crisis posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. The financial service provider is taking stock of its performance in the year 2021 and charting a new course for 2022. The annual general meeting, which showcases the business performance of the bank, shows that the gross earnings grew by 32% from 19.61 billion naira in 2020 to 25.84 billion naira in 2021. Profits before tax also recorded growth of 43% from 3.07 billion naira in 2020 to 4.37 billion naira in 2021, while financing and investments grew by 19% from 166 billion naira in 2020 to 197.50 billion naira by December 2021. Chairman of the bank, board of directors, audit committee members, regulators and shareholders are comfortable with the numbers.
With the new holdco structure, definitely the board composition will change and ensure that there will be a fair proportion of female in the whole.
Consequently, the bank is expected to raise the capital of 150 billion naira through issuance of sukuk, either in full or serially.
We are not only concentrating on the bank alone, but other businesses will be generating revenue for the bank, which will all be plowed into the holding company.
As you can see, we are paying about 30% more in dividend. So all the indicators of performance has shown that Dries Bank is on track.
I'm very happy as a shareholder that I'm getting returns on my investment.
Despite all challenges in 2021, Dries Bank says it remains committed to providing returns and sustaining a win-win relationship with shareholders. In Abuja, Boss said Able continues.
For more on business, let's join Benny Adams. Benny.
Thank you, Henry, and welcome to business. We start by telling you that the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekon Adegbite, says Nigeria is set to export only finished solid mineral products. The minister gave the assurance during a meeting with stakeholders ahead of the Nigerian Mining Week coming up this year.
Either though, Nigeria has been designated as oil and gas country strictly, which has overshadowed mining. We don't want Nigeria to be a net exporter of raw ore or raw materials anymore. We want Nigeria to become an industrial hub where finished products will be exported to different parts of the world.
The Nigerian mining roadmap in 2016 aims at seeing the mining sector contributing $27 billion to GDP by 2025. We believe this benchmark is achievable based on 2022 sector performance.
Taking a look at the equities market, the market closed green, rising about 47 billion naira as the all share index increased from preceding day's low. 49,629.63 to 49,709.46 basis point. Market capitalization grew to 26.8 trillion naira. 204.1 million shares valued at 1.6 billion naira exchanged hands in 3,643 deals. FBNH, Extracts and UBA led in volume. That is Business News. Network News continues with Yere. Yere, it's now doing business with you.
Same here, Benny. Thank you for the update. The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council is proposing $750 million World Bank-backed program for SAP nationals starting next year, just as state governments and their agencies would play a significant role in ensuring an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Vice President Yemi Oshibajo made this assertion at a virtual meeting of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, where a presentation of the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms (SEBA) program, coordinated by the Secretariat and the World Bank, was discussed. The SEBA program is a 3-year performance-based intervention jointly designed by the World Bank and PBEC, with support from the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning and the Nigeria Governors Forum Secretariat. The purpose is to give incentives and strengthen the implementation of business enabling reforms in Nigeria, specifically across the participating states of the Federation and the FCT. And a bit in politics, the All Progressives Congress says parts of its reforms ahead of the 2023 general elections is to engage enlightened minds that have the capacity to resist electoral manipulations. The national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, says the party's professionals forum will play an important role in realizing this agenda. Salihu Gwanara reports.
As politicians increase synergy and developing strategy, APC National Secretariat is not devoid of such activities. The visit by APC Professionals Forum is a unique one, as they came to share ideas and key into the party's new vision, which the national chairman Abdullahi Adamu said requires professional inputs.
So that we can be able to look at our government, talk to the government, talk to authority, and they know, yes, you are talking from a point of view of knowledge. You are talking from the truth, but nothing but the truth. But where we keep going, getting guided by misinformation, disinformation, it won't take us anywhere. No government in the world gets elected just to do bad.
Leader of the group, former governor of Bauchi State, Issa Yuguda, told journalists that the purpose of the visit is to sustain and maintain on track the party's agenda for positive transformation.
I believe the party will leverage on our presence to draw the necessary skills that can enable them put square pegs in square holes.
Both the party and the professional group disclosed their plan to organize a national conference and APC candidates' town hall meetings as part of strategy to enlighten citizens. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Let's now have a feel of the ancient city of Benin, where Gochukuka Ona is standing by to feed us.
Thank you, Yenre. Good evening. Curbing the menace of incessant building collapse in Nigeria and the need for imbibing maintenance culture on buildings took center stage at discussions at the 52nd Builders Annual Conference of the Nigeria Institute of Building held in Akure, Ondo State. Toyin Batire reports.
In recent past and up to date, Nigeria has recorded several cases of building collapse, which has taken its toll on the lives and property of the citizens. Consequently, building professionals across the country converged to brainstorm on how building collapse can be curbed in the interest of the nation. They highlighted training and retraining of local builders and harnessing of best modern practices as part of ways to arrest and forestall dilapidation and decay in buildings.
Current technologies, management techniques, materials of construction are now getting our members exposed to all of this. And so that this our incident of building collapse will not continue to be the narration in Nigeria.
Professionalize the practice of building in Nigeria and upskill the entire system. Builders must take charge of the human resources within the entire system of the building construction. We are having building collapses because all of them, or most of them, in the industry are not doing what they do.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu promised to domesticate the National Building Code.
To see most of our community depreciate that.
Inaugurations of artisans and National Steering Committee of the Institute were highlights of the conference in Akure. Tony Batire, NTA News.
Another break at this point. Ian will be back for the closing lap of the news.
Let's now have a bit of sports.
Nigeria defeated Gambia 3-0 at 25-21, 25-16 and 25-15 to record a second consecutive win at the ongoing 2022 Africa Under-21 Men's Nation Volleyball Championship in Tunisia. Nigeria's next game is against Tunisia on Wednesday. In grassroots football, 32 football academies and clubs participated in the third edition of Dominion Dr. DK Olukoya football competition. The competition was in under 13, 17, 19 and 23 categories for boys. In the under 17 final, Mountain Top beat Future Stars on penalties after the match ended 1-1 in regulation time.
Talent abounds every nook and crevice of this country. If only everyone can put in their little bits, Nigeria will not be what it is today.
In boxing, it was a 10-round of fierce battle between Nigeria's Fatai Nuruddin and Patrick Ayi of Ghana as the two countries rekindled their rivalry in the world of boxing at the 2022 International Featherweight Challenge. The Ghanaian was later declared the winner via unanimous decision of the officials.
We're supposed to bring boxers that will become champions very soon.
Corporate bodies and government institutions to look into how to develop sports in this country. You have the talents, you have the boys, you have the girls that can make Nigeria proud.
There were other bouts in various categories to keep Nigeria boxers fit for international engagement. In another news, the 15th edition of West African Open Taekwondo Championship has ended in Lagos with emphasis on growing the sport from the grassroots. Jude Igbinovia Jr. won gold in the kiddies female flyweight. Same day, Mohamed Ghaniyat smiled home with the gold medal of the female heavyweight event, among other champions that cut across different categories.
With sports update, Olunje Gotola, NTA News.
And with sports done, we're done with the news tonight. Many thanks for watching. And here's a quick one. Join the League of Stars. Stand against rape and rapists. I'm Ian Ray John. Have a good night.
Thank you.